The morning rush had just begun when Ethan pushed open the door of the small cafe on Maple Street. His worn-out jacket smelled faintly of sawdust from the construction site, and his hands were rough from years of hard work. He wasn't there for coffee, he was there to apply for the part-time dishwasher job pinned on the bulletin board near the counter. He glanced at the menu, then at his wallet. Just enough for one hot chocolate, his daughter Lily's favorite. He smiled softly, picturing her waiting at school with that hopeful look she always had when he promised to bring her a treat. As he waited in line, the door opened, and a familiar scent of lavender and rain drifted in. Ethan turned, and his heart stopped. It was her. Olivia Hart. The woman he'd loved a lifetime ago, the one who'd gone off to college while he stayed behind to care for his dying father. She looked radiant, her presence commanding quiet respect. The cafe staff straightened as she walked in, her assistant followed, holding a laptop. "Miss Hart, your usual table?" the barista asked. Ethan froze. "Miss Hart?" The name echoed. His chest tightened as realization sank in. She wasn't just visiting town. She owned the cafe. And maybe much more. For a brief moment, Olivia's eyes met his, and time stood still. The noise of the cafe faded, replaced by the unspoken memories between them. But she didn't recognize him, not yet. Ethan slipped quietly behind the counter after nervously asking the manager if the dishwasher position was still open. The man nodded and handed him an apron. It wasn't glamorous, but it was work, and that was all Ethan needed. He moved quickly, washing dishes, wiping tables, doing whatever was asked. From the corner of his eye, he could see Olivia sitting by the window, typing something on her laptop, her expression calm yet confident. She looked every bit the part of a successful woman, a far cry from the girl who used to sneak into the old diner with him after school, laughing over shared milkshakes. Every time he looked up, he felt that same ache, the mix of pride, longing, and regret. He wondered if she ever thought about him, or if she even remembered his name. Across the cafe, Olivia caught a glimpse of the man behind the counter. There was something about his posture, humble, yet steady, that tugged at her memory. He looked familiar, though his beard and worn-out clothes made it hard to tell. "Ma'am, your next meeting's in 20 minutes, her assistant reminded her. Olivia nodded absently, still watching the man wash a cup with unusual care, as if each glass mattered. When he looked up and their eyes met again, she felt a strange pull in her chest. Later, as she prepared to leave, she passed by the counter. Ethan looked up. Their eyes locked once more, this time, a flicker of recognition crossed hers. "Excuse me," she said softly, her voice uncertain. "I'm sorry, but, have we met before?" Ethan froze, heart pounding. After all these years, the past had finally found him, right here, between stacks of dirty dishes and memories that refused to fade. Ethan hesitated, unsure what to say. His voice caught in his throat. Maybe. Small town, faces cross paths again sometimes. Olivia tilted her head, studying him more closely. The rough beard, the tired eyes, but then she noticed something familiar in his smile. It hit her like a wave. "Ethan," she whispered. He looked down, then back up slowly. "Yeah, it's me." For a second, neither spoke. The cafe, the customers, the noise, all of it faded. Only the years between them stood still. "I can't believe it," she said, her voice trembling between joy and disbelief. "After all this time." He gave a soft, humble smile. "Guess life brought us back in its own way." She wanted to ask 100 questions, what happened, where he'd been, but one look at his calloused hands and tired eyes told her enough. He'd been working hard, surviving. "How's life treating you?" she asked gently. Ethan chuckled softly. "Can't complain. Got a beautiful little girl. She's my world." His voice warmed as he spoke about Lily. "Smartest kid I know." Always smiling, no matter how tough it gets. Olivia felt her heart soften. The Ethan she'd known had always been kind, selfless to a fault. Hearing him speak that way again reminded her why she'd loved him once. But as her phone buzzed with reminders and meetings, reality crept back. She was a CEO now, with deadlines and decisions that never stopped. He was just trying to make ends meet. Still, when she looked at him, she didn't see a dishwasher. She saw the same man who once believed in her dreams before she believed in them herself. And for the first time in years, Olivia felt something money could never buy. The next morning, Ethan arrived early at the cafe, surprised to see the staff buzzing around with unusual excitement. New equipment had been delivered, and the manager was in an unusually good mood. "Big day," he said. "Ms. Hart decided to expand this branch, wants to give everyone a small raise, too." Ethan smiled faintly, happy for everyone else. For him, even a little extra meant more food on the table for Lily. When Olivia walked in later, her polished presence filled the room again, but this time, she stopped to greet every employee, including Ethan. "Morning, Ethan," she said with a soft smile. "How's Lily doing?" He blinked, surprised she remembered. "She's good. Starting school next week." Excited, but, things are tight. Olivia nodded, pretending to check her phone so he wouldn't see the emotion in her eyes. She hadn't stopped thinking about him or that little girl since yesterday. That night, she'd even looked him up, no social media, no online presence. Just a man quietly doing his best to raise his daughter. A few days later, Ethan picked Lily up from school to find a new backpack and school supplies waiting at his door. No note, no name, just kindness wrapped in mystery. He stood there holding the bag, his throat tight. Who would? Lily giggled, twirling the ribbon tied to the handle. Maybe an angel, Daddy. Across town, in her office overlooking the city, Olivia smiled at the delivery confirmation on her phone. She didn't want thanks. She just wanted to give back, to the man who once gave up his dreams for his family, and to the little girl who still believed in miracles. But fate wasn't finished with them yet. A week later, Ethan was called into the manager's office. He feared the worst, cutbacks, maybe his position being removed. But when he stepped inside, Olivia was there, waiting. She smiled warmly. "Relax, Ethan. You're not in trouble." He rubbed the back of his neck awkwardly. "That's a relief. What's this about?" Olivia gestured for him to sit. "We're opening a new community cafe. It'll focus on hiring single parents, giving them steady work and flexible hours. I need someone trustworthy to manage it." Ethan blinked. "Manage it?" "Olivia, I'm just a dishwasher." She shook her head gently. "No. You're the most hardworking person I've met. You care. You lead quietly. That's what I need." Emotion welled in his eyes. "Why are you doing this?" She hesitated, her voice soft. "Because once, someone believed in me when I had nothing. You helped me chase my dreams, Ethan. It's time I return that kindness." For a long moment, he couldn't speak. He thought about Lily, about the years of struggle, about the hope he thought he'd lost. Finally, he whispered, "Thank you, Olivia, for everything." Tears glimmered in her eyes. "Don't thank me. Just promise me one thing, never stop believing in yourself." Weeks later, the grand opening drew a crowd. Ethan stood proudly beside his daughter, both wearing new aprons. Olivia cut the ribbon, their eyes meeting across the laughter and applause. In that moment, Ethan realized something powerful: kindness never really disappears. It just comes back when you need it most. And as Lily ran up to hug him, shouting, "We did it, Daddy," he smiled through tears. Because sometimes, life's greatest success stories begin not with wealth, but with a single act of love rediscovered.